Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, today we're going to talk about the few key ways you can put extra into your TSP every single year and a few special things happening as early as 2025, which we're going to dive into. And even if you're maxing the most you can in your TSP, the other places you can save, invest, and grow money in a tax-efficient way for the rest of your career until your retirement. Now, if you're new here, so good to have you. My name is Dallin Hoswell, financial planner who serves federal employees just like you every day, and I love it. So let's dive in. Long story short, many of you know for the average federal employee, the most you can put into the TSP in 2024 is $23,000. $23,000. So what that means is if there's 26 pay periods in a year, you get paid 26 times a year. Take 23,000 divided by 26. That's how much you can put into the TSP every single paycheck. However, you can put in extra if you turn 50 or older in 2024. So if you're 49 right now, you're turning 50 this year, great. You can do what they call the catch-up, which allows your limit to go to $30,500, $7,500 extra that you can put into the TSP. Now, one thing I will note is this limit, either $23,000 if you're under 50 or $30,500 for 50 and above, that limit is shared between the Roth TSP and the traditional TSP. So for example, if you put, let's say, $20,000 in the traditional TSP, the most you can put into the Roth TSP is $3,000. So it's a shared limit. The more you put in one, the less you can put in another. Now you can put the entire $23,000 in the Roth TSP or the entire $23,000 in the traditional. You can do it however you'd like, but it's a shared limit between both of those accounts, okay? Now, like I mentioned, a special thing is happening starting 2025 for those turning 60, 61, 62, or 63. If you are turning one of these ages in 2025, okay, your catch-up, basically the extra you could put into the TSP, is going to increase, okay? Again, the catch-up, as you see here, is $7,500 more than the normal amount. This is the normal amount you could put in, at least for 2024 numbers. Here, that's with the catch-up, okay? However, in 2025, if, again, you turn one of these ages in 2025, the catch-up for you is now going to be either $10,000 or 150% of the normal catch-up. So long story short, if the catch-up amount is about the same as it is currently, that would mean your catch-up amount would be $11,250. Now, the catch-up will change over time, but roughly you could put at least $10,000 extra, okay? If not 11,000 some, depending on what the actual catch-up numbers are, starting 2025. So instead of just the $30,500, you'd be able to put in even more. Your catch-up amount would be $10,000 at least, okay? So at least $10,000 more than the normal amount, if not more, depending on what the actual catch-up numbers are starting next year. So again, this applies to people turning one of those four ages. I'm not exactly sure why they did it this way. I'm not sure why it's just not everyone's 60 or older. I don't know why, but that is simply the rules. If you're turning one of these four ages in 2025, you can do extra. Otherwise, you have the normal contribution rules, okay? You have the normal catch-up and the normal amount. If you're under 50, if you're over 50, you have the normal catch-up. If you're between one of these ages, you have the normal amount plus the extra added catch-up. So hopefully that's making sense, right? It's kind of a strange rule, but that is how it goes. Now, if you've maxed out your TSP, regardless of where you're at, whether you're under 50, 50 plus, or 60 to 63, right? If you're maxing out the TSP, putting as much in there as they possibly will let you do, there's still hope. There's a few more places you can look. First, you look at IRAs, right? Can you invest in an IRA, a Roth IRA, traditional IRA? Now, just keep in mind, be careful. I wouldn't use an IRA until you're already maxing the TSP. I would start with your TSP. Once it's completely maxed out, then maybe think about an IRA if you have extra money to save. Because the reason I say that is IRAs get a little more complicated. The exact rules on how to use them will change depending on your income level, and you may not even be able to use them much if your income is over certain limits, depending on the year. So just keep an eye on that, but it's worth looking into if you want to save more in a tax-efficient way in retirement. Otherwise, you can always open up a brokerage account. It's basically just a normal investment account that's non-retirement. Now, you can use it for retirement. It's just not a quote-unquote retirement account. You can open one up at any of the big banks, whether it's Schwab, Fidelity, Vanguard, any of these big investment banks. You can open one up. You can invest money and let it grow over time. The tax rules are a little different, but it's a great place to go to save and put money away for retirement. So if you have extra money, there's lots of places to save. Again, I would start first, max out your TSP wherever you're at. Again, the 23,000 is the 2024 limit for anyone that's under 50. If you're 50 plus, it's 30,500, and starting in 2025, you'll actually be able to do more than the 30,500 if you're one of these ages. Again, the exact numbers are to come as we get those later in the year. Okay, and if you're already maxing out if you're maxing out the TSP already, then think about IRAs, think about brokerage accounts where you can put more money aside, let it grow for you, so you have more money in retirement. Okay, and the higher your salary, the more you need to be saving. Okay, if someone's making 50 grand a year, the amount they need to save is much smaller than compared to someone who's making 200,000. That $200,000 salary person needs to save a lot to make sure they can maintain their standard of living that they're used to in retirement. So keep that in mind. I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, again, stick in the comments below. There's tons of helpful people in the community that you guys help each other, which is fantastic. I'll see you guys next time.